You're listening to the Love and Language podcast, where we inspire hearing parents of deaf children and remind you that as long as you're giving your child love and language, you're doing a great job.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, Christy. How's it going?
Good. Today is going to be fun because we're doing a Q&A day, which honestly
Yes.
feels nice to just have a little chat. We want to give you guys a lot of resources, but you know what? Sometimes it's just the fun in chat is where it's at. So this will be fun and casual. And yeah, this is something we hope to make a monthly routine. Why don't you go first, Beth?
Yeah, so one of the questions I've got is, what was the best part or one of the best parts about finding out that your kid was deaf? And I think I'm just going to view this as more of a big picture. What are some of the benefits at this point? I think honestly, one of my favorite parts is that when he sleeps, he just sleeps. I can be loud, I can vacuum, I can stomp. I'm the heaviest walker in the world, and Brandon is on me about it constantly. And I'm like, he can't hear me. He can feel me probably, but that's definitely a bonus. No, we touched on this a little bit. I love that we can watch really annoying kids shows muted. I know you said Charlie doesn't let you do that, or just stream directly to his implants at a restaurant.
The Bluetooth. I don't know if people realize that if you're new to your journey and you're considering cochlear implants, they have Bluetooth. So they can stream all of their YouTube right to their cute little heads. But fun little story though. I think we were going on a road trip. It was during the holidays. Charlie had just been implanted. So she was barely over a year old. And we were driving from Virginia to Tennessee. And I hooked her up so that she could watch her YouTube on the car ride and be in her little world and us not to have to hear it. We were driving and I'm like, why is my GPS not working? Because I was the passenger. I was supposed to be given the directions. And I was like, it's not telling me these GPS directions. And then when we finally got to Tennessee, I was like, oh my gosh, they've been going off in Charlotte's head this entire time. Oh, I felt so bad. So I took a little break from the Bluetooth for a while, but now we're back at it. And
Sometimes it's pretty persistent. I'll play TikTok or something. I'll be scrolling and it'll go away and I'll look and it's on his implants and I'll disconnect it and then it'll connect again. He'll be downstairs. So I'm sure it's, yeah. Something to keep an eye on. If your phone is not playing sound for you, it's probably playing sound elsewhere.
One thing you talked about on one of the past episodes that is so true. You can listen to the true crime in the car rides and they can't hear it, but it won't be good if it's accidentally Bluetoothing to them now. That's such a good thing. I'm trying to think what my favorite part would be. Charlotte had, when she was born, a 21-month-old sister who's older than her. So when she sleeps at night, they share a room now. And she can be as loud as she wants and it doesn't bother Charlie. However, the opposite doesn't work. So when you have a loud deaf child like Beth and I, and they're sharing a room like Charlotte does with Cammie, she doesn't realize how loud she is. Where did you learn sign language? I always love that question because I have a favorite for me that I use. Beth, I'm curious to hear yours too. And then I have a favorite for families and for kids. And we talked about it a little bit in the episode we just recorded. But for kids and families, I love Signing Time with Alex and Leah. I think the songs are very catchy. I think it's a really easy way to learn the basics. I feel like Signing Time with Alex and Leah is just right to have that repetitive signing, sing-song behavior. And then for me, I have a favorite, Bill Vikers, lifeprint.com. He has a YouTube channel, Lifeprint on YouTube. He is amazing. Everything is free. And he is a deaf professor. And the way that he teaches sign language is very simple. He has him and a novice beginner student next to him. He has a blackboard that is saying their conversation behind them. You have to look at it to see it. It's so well done. He literally gives you his entire curriculum for an entire college course. But I think what Bill Vikers did for me was more than just teach me sign language on those YouTube channels. When I explain to people why I love him so much, I get chills, me and my little chills. But I had never met a deaf person before Charlie, like I said. And I can just see his personality and how funny he is. And that was the first time I've ever seen that before of somebody without having to tell a joke out loud. I just find him so funny and so charismatic, and he doesn't have to say a word. Through the way he signs to people, that was the first time I got to see that. And so that's why I love Bill Vikers. Plus, he's just an angel for giving away all of this for free.
Yeah, I like him too. The other things that obviously is going to vary state to state, but that I think really helped me was our deaf mentor program. Minnesota has a deaf mentor program where they'll literally match you up with a deaf adult if you have a deaf or hard of hearing child. And that they just work through like a curriculum with you, sign language in person. Typically, we started during COVID, so it was via Zoom, but it got to the point where she was coming like to our house once everything settled.
That's awesome. They are just starting to try to hopefully implement that in Virginia here soon. They did not have that. It's something that a really wonderful advocate for the deaf community who runs Family to Families here has been working hard on. And it sounds like they're finally maybe going to get it going. So I've got my fingers crossed because I wish that I had that. I'm so jealous you guys do. And that's awesome that you have such great early resources.
I'm interested. I will have to look up how many other states do something similar.
I think that's one way that your experience and my experience varied a lot just based on resources. Because in Virginia, where I'm at, once you make that decision to proceed with cochlear implants, the resources that early intervention, like the state funded resources that you get, they go that route. They will have your speech therapist come to your house. And there's a lot of great resources, but there's not a lot of signing resources. We had to go through random military scholarships to just get private help in that area. So definitely something that I hope that is improved so that every family who wants access to that has it in the future.
It's a good segue into my next question, which was my mom is an SLP, so that's speech language pathologist, and I'm wondering if Cooper sees one. So I do get asked this a lot, what his therapies do or don't look like. As of right now, he's 3.5. He does not qualify for a speech and language delay of any kind. So he works solely with the deaf and hard of hearing teacher through our school district. She is fluent in sign, is amazing, signs with him, speaks with him, uses both of those at the same time all the time when she works with him. She's worked with him since he was 8-9 months old. It's been her, and now he sees her once or possibly twice a week when he goes to his early childhood class. So that's right now what that looks like. That's not to say that in the future that won't change, but I don't know what your guys' experience has been like with that, Christy.
Like I said, Virginia was really great once we made that route to make sure we had the rules for speech and language, because we did express that was our priority. And Charlie had a speech language pathologist come to the house since she was 2 months old. Courtney, she's a saint, and she actually made the decision to be a stay-at-home mom just this year in the last few months. But she had been with Charlie since she was 2 months old, and then we are fortunate that we are a military family, so we have insurance, which covered all of her private speech. Actually, we'll segue into a question that somebody else asked on mine and give my answer for both, because they asked if I was considering putting Charlie in a deaf school. And no, not in the sense of a deaf institution specifically for deaf children. We ourselves and Charlie, she definitely has the desire to be around her sister and her hearing peers. But her school right now has a deaf and hard of hearing program through their public schools. So she's in the pre-K program right now. So it's 5 days a week for half school days. And through that program, which is awesome, her room is specifically made for deaf and hard of hearing students. Half of the day is full ASL students, half of the day is kiddos with hearing technology who prefer speech. So she's in the speech one. Her teacher is specialized in being a deaf and hard of hearing teacher. And then she has speech twice a week with a speech therapist at her school. So she has so many great resources right now. And next year she'll continue that in kindergarten. She has a teacher of the deaf for her kindergarten teacher, and she'll continue her speech. She prefers to be in that sort of educational environment. She has hearing and hard of hearing deaf children in her peer group. They have listening partners in their class, and she enjoys that. Her and Coop both aren't two kids who prefer sign language. And number one, there is not even an option for that near me. So I don't know. Do you have a deaf school near you?
Probably a couple hours is the closest.
Yeah. And I know parents who have moved to get their children into schools of the deaf, which is so amazing. we probably wouldn't opt for that anyhow, because again, it's not really what she prefers, but also not everybody has the opportunity to do that, the means. And we're military. We go exactly where we're told to go, which is here. And yeah, it's just not even an option for us. They just wrote deaf school. So I don't know if they're talking about like a school for the deaf, but during one of my husband's deployments, we went to my parents' house in Tennessee to stay with them because they lived in Memphis, and Memphis has the Memphis Oral School for the Deaf, which is an option school. If you live near an option school, I'm just like so jealous. There's nothing like it. Every kid in the school has cochlear implants or hearing aids. They have an audiology booth there. They have the audiologist there. They map their cochlear implants there. They have their speech language pathologist. They have the occupational therapist. They had special programs. It's a full day, Monday through Friday, and it's free. It's all covered. Yes, I know. Leaving there was so hard. It's amazing if you have one of those. If we weren't in the military and I could had a magic wand and I could go back to a school like Memphis Oral School for the Deaf, I would do that. What about you?
It just honestly wasn't an option for us in terms of where we live. And I felt so confident in our school district here after meeting with them and talking to them and talking to other parents of deaf and hard of hearing kids that it wasn't really something that we never really considered moving. Our roots are pretty put down here. So it's not something that I honestly looked into a ton. And therefore, I don't really have much to speak on it. We worked a little bit with a school in the Twin Cities that is called Northern Voices, and that's for students with hearing devices, but is very much a spoken language approach. So we did a couple in-person visits there when we had other appointments for speech therapy, that kind of stuff when he was littler. It's a great program, but the kids there all spoke so much better than him, even when they were significantly younger. And that was really hard for me because it felt like it should be something that we were pursuing or that I wanted to give him. But at the same time, I think he would use and recognize even less ASL than he does now, if that had been the case, because they don't incorporate that at all. So it really is just about the route that is right for your family. I feel very confident in Cooper being mainstreamed here, especially with his personality. It sounds like he and Charlie are fairly similar. He's not going to want to be in a different space or away from every other kid, that type of thing. So that's kind of where we are at education-wise. So he'll be heading into his first official year of preschool this coming year, and he'll have 2 full years because he's a September baby. So he'll be older when he starts kindergarten, but I feel good about it.
We held Charlotte back at this preschool 1 extra year just for that reason. So she'll be a little bit older, but yeah, I felt like it was good to give her that. She's so close to meeting that language gap. So we just wanted to give her that extra year. I always think of an episode we should do in the future whenever these conversations come up, because we don't get to have these one-on-one conversations with other hearing parents that often, but definitely felt in my soul when you were talking about seeing the kids where they were at with their language. And you don't mean to compare where your child's at. It's the mom thing. Like you get mom guilt. Should I be like, was I not narrating my day enough? Was I not doing this or that? It is so natural to compare, and I wish that we didn't. But I just wanted to say that I felt you there because I had been there. You guys are awesome, and you do send in so many great questions. But like I said, we want to keep this a once a month thing that we can do, and we can tax them on to the end of more episodes if you guys have more questions, because that's what this is all about, is this community and sharing. We want to hear your answers to these same questions. So feel free to DM us them, email them to us, send them into the website, because we're just 2 people. You can see just even our experiences are so different, and we have different insight to all of them. So we want to hear from you guys as well, because it's important. If you are a parent who has been in this position already, keep in mind that there are parents listening to this who are brand new into this. So all of your input is so important. Trust me, I would love this. Like Q&As, I would love to read through everything that I could on that. So please feel free to send them in and be a part of this. And as long as you're giving your child love and language, you are doing a great job.
Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode. And like Christy said, as long as you're giving your child love and language, you're doing a great job.
Bye, guys.
See ya.